This meeting of the Brooklyn City Council to order. Mary Jo, if you could do the roll call, please.
Kevin Tansky.
Here.
Andy Selhertz.
Here.
Katie Gallagher.
Here.
Tony DeMarco.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
Here.
Kathy Pucci.
Here.
Mary Belbeer.
Here.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Hope everyone had a nice summer. Just a note, before the next meeting on September 21st, we'll have a brief public hearing about the Community Development Block Grant by our Economic Development Director. Tonight we have a couple items on the agenda, but first I'd like to go over some things we covered in the summer. Council met on July 23rd for a special meeting. We accepted a $500 beautification grant from the Chamber of Commerce. We used the money to buy flower baskets around the city. Accepted a $20,000 grant for in-dash car cameras from the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. This was with the expectation that the city matched the grant. We passed a resolution to support IKEA's Property 404 permit application to the Army Corps of Engineers and Section 401 Ohio Environmental Protection Agency's water quality certification to mitigate wetlands located at Tiedemann and Bidoff. We authorized the purchase of two 2015 Ford F-350s and one F-150 and equipment for use by the Service Department from Valley Ford Truck for a total amount of $142,446 through the State of Ohio Government Price Index. And lastly, we passed an ordinance providing for the compensation for full-time jailers in the City of Brooklyn Police Department. These hirings were a result of the regional dispatch with Parma. Tonight on the agenda, we have a landfill closure change order from Independence Excavating in the amount of $797,500. This is necessary to import 55,000 cubic yards of recompacted soil barrier. Our service director provided us a lengthy report of why, but the basic gist of it is from the preliminary test sites, we thought we would need less of this soil, but it turns out it was a false representation of how much we would actually need. We have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Jackson Deacon and Associates of Westlake for the purposes of providing property and casualty insurance for a period of September 25th, 2015 to September 25th, 2016 for a total cost of $186,235. We're going to have to do this on emergency tonight. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with civil and environmental consultants in the amount of $20,000. This is for CEC to test this recompacted soil I already spoke about under the EPA standards. And our finance director provided us a report. In our landfill closure fund, we have about $1,664,000 to date before these costs. So we're in a good position right now. And lastly, we have an ordinance approving the purchase of video car cameras and body cameras along with other equipment. The police has recommended 12 dash cameras and 35 body-worn cameras from WatchGuard Systems for a total expenditure of $115,315. And $29,999 will be paid part of a grant of this from the Cuyahoga County Prosecutors and the Department of Justice. Okay, at this time we'll have public session, so if anyone has anything for the good and welfare of the City of Brooklyn, please come on up, state your name, address, including your city, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lou Changari. I live at 8972 Trail Run Drive. I'm here tonight wearing two different kinds of hats. One hat I'm wearing, the first one is as a dad, as a grandfather, and a citizen of Brooklyn. And the second one is being, which I'll put on later, being the crossing guard. I'm here to give our fire department union a huge thank you, as this past summer, these firemen took back a twice weekly buddy baseball league. I'll break that and I'll get me in trouble. For the physically disadvantaged youth in the city. They played every other Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. behind the rec center at the John Fry Field. The fire union provided T-shirts for each one of the kids. I don't know if you saw them, which I can assure you that every one of the kids that was there really enjoyed them. At the end of the season, they provided and presented each player with a beautiful trophy, which I know 90% of those kids probably carried it with them all the time. At the end of the season, I also want to thank some very special ladies who made each Sunday a great fun time for the kids. They went above and beyond the call of duty, and it's a shame that some of you and some of the people didn't get out to see these kids. They got to play baseball where if they would have wanted to attend a regular league, they wouldn't even let them play. All right, now we'll get to the other part. Now we put on the green one. I'm here to remind each of you drivers out there to be especially careful as our schools are now open. I want to remind you that the Brookridge is now closed, but there are still school kids crossing Ridge Road by the library from 66th to School Drive. Now as far as I know, there is no crossing guard at this location. I also want to advise everybody, especially you drivers, that there is no right turn on red from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. school days. I would also like to remind you drivers that it's against the state law that when a crossing guards are in the crosswalk, you do not turn in front of them or behind them as they are crossing people or they are in the crosswalk. Also, I would like to remind everybody, especially you drivers who think it's fun or you have to talk on the cell phone, that Brooklyn would love and our men in blue would love to talk to you about the use of those cell phones. My problem with seeing you people with the use of cell phones is it's not just one person or two persons. Sometimes it's mothers and they got kids in the car and they're on the phone. Now, God forbid that you're looking at that cell phone and you're texting and you hit a kid or you hit one of us school guards. So please, let's get back on the ball. School's back in. Let's watch the kids. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that some of you people think that it's okay to encroach or drive halfway through the crosswalk. Now, the state law reads that you are not allowed to park your car in that crosswalk. It's the same law that says you're not allowed to park on a railroad track.
Lou, you have less than a minute.
Okay. With that, I want to thank all the people who are involved with the Baseball League And I want to thank you for letting me stand up here and talk about the safety of our kids. With that, I say thank you.
Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Victor Ardito, 7439 Outlook Avenue. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. If you're heading southbound in either Ridge Road or Tiedemann to get on 480 westbound, and both areas, both ramps, right where you get onto the road are rough, and on a motorcycle, it's even more of a pain driving in the rough road. I don't know if that's the city or the county. The one had a big area on Ridge Road where it's been cut out and patched multiple times. And the other thing I was wondering, is there any more update on Menards? Hey, thank you.
That area is the Department of Transportation. And as far as Menards goes, Dave, do you want to just do something briefly?
We have no update on that.
Sure, Mayor.
The last we heard about Menards, the front office was changing the design of all their stores, so all the stores that are in construction are going to be built is on hold, and that was the last we heard, and that was a couple months ago.
Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn?
Hi, my name is Michael Changari. I live at 8705 Morton Avenue in Brooklyn. I just wanted to say two things and read a statement. I was so happy to see all the members of our council and the mayor and the fire chief up at the brand new grand opening for our new school. It was really refreshing to see that kind of community involvement. The second, I'm going to read this statement. It's by a famous American, and then I'm going to tell you who said it at the end. It says, "I know you're watching, so pay attention. You hate my freedom, you hate my religion, and my country. Don't ever confuse me for my politicians or my media. I am an American, free-born, and free-bred. My freedom is more powerful than anything you can possibly do. I will say what I think, worship according to my beliefs, and raise my children how I see fit. And I defend all of this with the Constitution of the United States and the Second Amendment. I cower to no one." This was, I had the honor and privilege of meeting this gentleman. His name is Marcus Luttrell. He is, and wrote the book Lone Survivor. He was on the mission in 2005. I have a service coin in Afghanistan in Operation Red Wing. He is a true American hero, and I wanted to read his statement. It was related to what's going on in the Middle East, related to the radical Islamic movement that's going on there, and letting them know that we as Americans won't take it. In conclusion, I just wanted to say thank you very much to the council, everyone that's here, that I have the ability to speak. You guys have a great night.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn? Okay. When I was updating you guys before about the July 23rd meeting, I missed one. The council passed an ordinance approving a school resource officer. This was a joint effort with the school. The school agreed to pay 75% of a first-class patrol officer for the school, and this officer was picked in joint interviews, Officer Dan Meadows, and he will be on site at the schools from now permanently during the school year and in the city in the summertime. Moving on to reports of committees, commissions, and boards. First up is the Finance and Economic Development Committees. Councilwoman Pucci.
Thank you. Good evening. The Finance Committee met earlier this evening at 6:30. Just a reminder, this meeting is open to the public, and the public is encouraged to attend. The committee recommended approving the issues and legislation on our agenda this evening as follows. Ordinance 2015-49, we recommended passing by emergency measure. This is our renewal contract with Jackson, Deacon and Associates for providing property and casualty insurance. The reason this is going to be passed by emergency measure this evening is because our current contract with them will expire prior to our next meeting. And the annual cost is $186,235. This represents the same rate for the coverage, but it's an increase of $6,334 due to an increase in the value with the property that's protected. Next, we discuss the change order for the landfill closure. Ms. Gallagher previously mentioned that it's for $797,500 to Independence Excavating. Next ordinance, we also recommended approval by emergency, and that's ordinance 2015-53, authorizing an additional $20,000 to CEC Consultants for the additional soil sample testing that will be required on this additional soil we need to bring in. The original contracts, along with the change orders and what we have on our agenda this evening, represents approximately $2.9 million. However, we do expect to have some of those costs reduced. On first reading this evening is ordinance 2015-54, authorizing the purchase of the body cameras and dash cameras for the police department. As previously mentioned, we did receive 2 grants, one from the County Prosecutor's Office and the second one from the U.S. Department of Justice. Mr. Enovich informed us that our audit has been released. We had a post-audit conference on June 29th, and the auditor just released those on September 8th. So we will proceed with publishing our CAFR, and I'm not sure if it's available yet, but it will be available both on our website and also on the website of the state auditor. Mr. Enovich also informed us that the auditor is going to continue their trend of not having their own employees do the smaller audits, such as the one for our city, and they're recommending that we extend with the current private auditor that we've had. So we'll be receiving more information on that. Mr. Enovich also advised us that he's going to be sharing with us the results of House Bill 5, which changed the municipal tax, and we have a model ordinance from Regional Income Tax Authority and also some rules and regulations that we will have to update. Basically, because the state enacted this legislation governing municipal tax collections and what we can tax, what we can't, we have no choice. So we're fortunate that we're with RETA because they are able to provide us with all the model legislation and amendments to rules that we need. The other thing we discussed, Mr. Enovich and I had spoken several times